If you ask 10 people what the best heart-healthy diet is, you'll get 10 answers. Cut carbs, eat vegan, go Mediterranean, do paleo. The problem is, most people don't fail because they chose the wrong label. They fail because the plan is too strict to repeat, and it doesn't target the small set of high-yield patterns that show up again and again in heart-healthy eating. I've seen it in ordinary life. A 67-year-old who notices his legs feel heavy by mid-morning and assumes that's just aging. A 74-year-old who keeps her hands in her pockets because her fingers stay cold even indoors. And an 81-year-old who does everything right, walks every day, yet still gets the same afternoon crash, like his energy falls off a cliff. Nobody tells you this. You can eat healthy and still miss the levers that matter most for the environment inside your blood vessels. So today I'm going to rank 6 practical items from mild to most impactful, with a twist at number 2, because many people do it right and still get almost nothing. And number 1 is not a single food. It's a repeatable meal template you can use daily. I'll also give you a simple protocol, a realistic timeline, and a 30-day tracking method you can review with your clinician. Before we talk about food, it helps to understand the big picture of how plaque develops. It's not one switch. It's a process that involves the inner lining of blood vessels, particles circulating in the blood, and the immune response that tries to repair damage but can also build more problem over time. You'll hear people argue about one villain: cholesterol, sugar, blood pressure, inflammation. In real life, these interact. But if I had to choose one theme that connects the dots, it's oxidative stress. Not as a trendy phrase, more like a chemical environment that makes damage easier and repair harder. Think of it like rust on a hinge. A hinge still moves, but it gets stiff, unreliable, and more easily irritated. Rust doesn't arrive overnight, it accumulates. When oxidative stress is higher, the vessel lining can be more vulnerable. It becomes easier for unwanted particles to slip into the vessel wall and easier for the immune system to stay activated. Over time, that supports plaque growth and instability. So the foods we're going to use are not magic plaque removers. They're simply choices that tend to support a healthier internal environment: lower oxidative burden, calmer inflammation signaling, better endothelial function, and more stable metabolism, especially blood sugar patterns that can quietly drive stress in the system. One more important point: preparation and context matter. People often buy foods marketed as heart healthy, but the way they eat them determines whether the body can actually use what's inside. That's why number 2 is the twist. Now, I'll rank 6 items from mild to most impactful, and then I'll show you the meal template that ties it all together. Before we start the ranking, what's your age and where are you listening from? And which one do you notice most? Cold hands or feet, heavy legs, lower stamina, or that afternoon energy crash? Just write one in the comments. It helps me tailor the next video. Item 6, score 4 out of 10. Berries, usually with plain yogurt if you tolerate it. Let's start with something easy because adherence matters. Berries are a practical way to add plant compounds that support the body's antioxidant systems. For many people, the simplest place to put them is breakfast. Where people get this wrong is not the berries, it's what they pair them with. Flavored yogurt often looks healthy, but it can be loaded with added sugar. Then you get bigger glucose swings, stronger cravings later, and you're more likely to feel that afternoon dip. If you like yogurt, plain is usually the better baseline, then you add your own fruit. If you're managing diabetes, portions still matter. Some people do better with a smaller serving and paying attention to how they feel afterward, or checking glucose if they monitor. Now that's a mild entry point. Next is more targeted toward cholesterol absorption patterns. Items number 5. Score 5 out of 10. Seeds and nuts in modest portions. This one works best when it's treated as a small daily habit, not a health halo snack you can eat endlessly. Seeds and nuts contain plant compounds that can compete with cholesterol absorption in the gut, and over time, that pattern may support healthier LDL/ApoB context for some people. The common mistake here is simply overeating it. It's easy to turn a small, helpful add-on into a calorie surplus that works against metabolic health. Keep the portion modest and consistent. If you're on blood thinners, bruise easily, or you've been told to watch certain minerals because of kidney function, it's worth checking with your clinician before you dramatically increase these foods. Next, we'll move to a very common red ingredient that's cheap and easy to use. Items number 4. Score 6 out of 10. Cooked tomato products. Tomatoes come up repeatedly in heart-healthy eating patterns, but the form matters. Cooked tomato products can provide lycopene, a carotenoid associated with antioxidant activity. And when the goal is reducing oxidative burden, that's relevant. The mistake I see is people relying only on raw tomatoes and assuming it's the same. For many, using tomato sauce, paste, or stewed tomatoes a few times a week is the more consistent, practical approach. Put a spoonful in soup, beans, or a protein dish. If reflux is an issue, this is one you adjust rather than force. Smaller portions and earlier timing can make a difference. Next, we'll talk about something simple that often affects energy and sleep more than people expect. Items number 3. Score 7 out of 10. Tea in a realistic window. Tea is not a miracle, but it's a reasonable tool. Green and black tea contain natural compounds that may support vascular function partly through oxidative stress pathways. The most common way people sabotage this is by turning tea into dessert, sweetened drinks that push blood sugar up and then drop it later. Another common issue is drinking it too late, disrupting sleep. And poor sleep tends to raise stress signals the next day, which can make circulation feel worse overall. If you're sensitive to caffeine, you can use a shorter steep, a smaller cup, or decaf versions. If reflux or palpitations are a problem, go cautiously. Now we're at number 2, the twist, because this is where people do the healthy thing and still get almost nothing out of it. Items number 2, score 8 out of 10. Vegetables, done in a way your body can actually use. This is the one that surprises people. Many protective plant nutrients are better utilized when you eat them with a small amount of healthy fat. So someone eats a big salad every day with fat-free dressing and wonders why they feel no change. Here's the key line, and it's important. If you do this wrong, your body gets almost nothing. You don't need a lot. A modest drizzle of olive oil, a few olives, some avocado, or a small handful of nuts can change the picture. It's not about adding huge calories. It's about making the nutrients usable. If you take blood thinners and you eat leafy greens, the big issue is consistency. Large swings in leafy greens intake can matter for some people. So keep it steady and talk to your clinician if you're changing patterns. Now we're ready for number 1, because number 1 isn't a single ingredient. It's a structure that ties the week together. Items number 1. Score 10 out of 10. The flow plate meal template you can repeat. If you want one repeatable plan that doesn't rely on extremes, this is the simplest template. The idea is to build a plate that supports a steadier internal environment, more stable blood sugar patterns, less oxidative burden, and better vascular support over time. Here's what it looks like. First, a fiber base, cooked vegetables or a large salad. Second, a palm-sized portion of protein you tolerate well. Third, a modest amount of healthy fat, often olive oil, avocado, nuts, or another option that fits you. Then you can rotate your color add-ons. Cook tomato products a few times a week, berries on some days, tea if it fits your routine. The most common mistake is building a healthy plate that is mostly refined carbs, then feeling hungry and tired again soon after. This template reduces that problem by putting fiber first, then protein, then a fat component that supports satiety and nutrient use. If you have kidney disease, diabetes medications, or reflux, this is where you individualize portions and timing with your clinician. The template stays the same, the details adjust. If you want the simplest version, do this for 2 weeks without overthinking it. Pick one meal a day that you can control consistently. For most people, that's dinner, but it can be lunch. Build the plate in the same order each time. Start with vegetables or a large salad. Add a palm-sized protein you tolerate well. Add a modest amount of healthy fat. Then add a color a few times a week, like cooked tomato products or berries. based on what you tolerate and what fits your routine. If you drink tea, keep it earlier in the day so it doesn't interfere with sleep. And here's the line that matters. If you only do one thing, do the meal template once a day. Don't chase perfection. Consistency beats perfection. If you can repeat it, you can actually evaluate it. In the first 24 to 48 hours, some people notice comfort signals, less post-meal heaviness, steadier appetite, fewer cravings, or more stable energy. Not everyone notices this, and it's not guaranteed. In 7 to 14 days, you may notice functional changes, better walk tolerance, less afternoon crash, warmer hands and feet, or steadier home readings if you track them consistently. In 60 to 90 days, this becomes more meaningful when reviewed with clinician context, blood pressure trends, lab patterns, and overall risk. Bring notes. Don't rely on memory. You want trends, not guesses. Keep these simple. Don't chase a perfect diet you can't repeat. Use the meal template once a day as your anchor. Avoid healthy-looking packaged foods that are quietly high in added sugar. Whole fruit tends to behave differently than juice because fiber changes absorption. And don't forget the preparation point. Prepare it wrong and you absorb almost nothing. Vegetables are a good example. Pair them with a modest amount of healthy fat. If you're on blood thinners, keep leafy greens consistent. If you have kidney disease, don't copy protein portions from the internet. If reflux is an issue, watch tomato timing and portion size. Track 1 or 2 signals consistently instead of changing everything at once. Now let's do a 30-day challenge with me. On day 1, rate 4 things from 1 to 10. Your stamina on a walk, cold hands or feet, heaviness in the legs, and the afternoon crash. Then do 1 daily flow plate meal for 30 days. Keep it stable. Don't add 5 new supplements or start a harsh diet on the side. The goal is clean data. On day 30, rate the same 4 things again. If you track blood pressure at home, use the same cuff, same chair, and the same time of day. If you're going to evaluate anything, evaluate it consistently. If you're over 60 and you've tried everything, I want to keep this grounded. There's no single food that guarantees outcomes, but there are repeatable patterns that tend to support a healthier internal environment. And those patterns are easier to stick with than extreme diets. That's why I like templates more than hype. A template reduces decision fatigue. It lets you repeat the same structure, then adjust based on real feedback, energy stability, walk tolerance, blood pressure trends, and labs when appropriate. If this was helpful, write your age and location in the comments and tell me which item you're starting with. And one more question. If you felt even 30% better, more steady energy, longer walks, less heaviness, what would you do first? Put that in the comments too.